So track and field is where we start this Thursday's edition of the SportsMax Zone. Year on year, the spectacle that is the Issa Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Championship in Jamaica grabs the attention of supporters of the sport near and far, as the meet has proven to be a hotbed for promising athletes. And supporters aren't the only people looking on with keen eyes, as scouts, especially for universities in the United States of America, search for their next collegiate superstars. Kansas State University is no different, having already previously enrolled 2016 and 2020 Jamaican Olympian Shade Lawrence, currently enrolling world and Olympic silver medalist Wayne Pinnock. The Grenadian Ashari Inu is there as well. They have visited again, and this time we have the pleasure of welcoming Clive Pullen, assistant coach, and Travis Geffert, director of track and field, both at Kansas State, to our set. Gentlemen, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. Great to have you on the show. We apologize for pulling you away from the National Stadium and the championships, although you would have seen some exciting action last night and for the first couple of days. Well, Travis, we've had you on the show before, but via Zoom, talking about Jaden Hibbert, who you had coached at Arkansas.
Yeah.
And we know that you have a strong history of coaching Caribbean athletes coming into your program. As we said, you were at Arkansas before, award-winning, championship-winning coach, and you now have Clive Pullen, an outstanding former Kingston College star athlete, with you as your assistant. Talk to us quickly about what you've seen so far at Champs and how impressed you've been.
Oh, it's phenomenal. I mean, when you look at some of the heats and the sprints and the times that are happening, it's amazing. And these kids, the way they perform, you know, the stage is set, and it's going to be an exciting Friday and Saturday, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, we saw the hundreds last night, and they were giving us some insight as to the future stars in sprinting on the Jamaican landscape.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this meet, it's unprecedented in track and field around the world, and I try to explain it to people back home. Unless you come here and you see it and experience it, you just can't understand. And Saturday, I'm confident it's going to be a show, per usual.
Yeah. Clive, I remember you back in 2013 with a triple jump record at Champs for Kingston College. In a year that I think about 30 records were broken at Champs that year. It was phenomenal. Omar McLeod and, you know, all you stars just producing records after records, even though Calabar were champions that year, which I guess would have taken away some of the glory for your record.
Well, you know, to be honest, when you've done your part, the part of being a team, responsibility of each individual is just to do their part. Yes. And, you know, for me, though we lost the championships, I did my part. So
you were team captain, weren't you?
Yes, yes. I did my part, though.
Yeah. Talk to us about your coaching acumen now, because having competed at the Rio Olympics, you were in Rio, not competing now, but giving back as a coach.
Yes.
How qualified are you as a coach, and how much are you enjoying this role?
Well, to be honest with you, I feel like coaching chose me. You know, after graduating University of Arkansas, computer engineering degree, Travis was a guy, he told me from a long time that someday you're going to be a coach. And I couldn't wrap my head around it, to be honest with you. But the more and more I evolved and the more and more I grew, is the more I realized that it was pretty natural. You know, I look back at my high school years and, you know, even coming through the ranks, class 3, class 2, and how, you know, Coach Jeremy, he would have me oversee the younger athletes. And that would be a consistent thing going through college. You know, I'd be the same way, just helping. I'm one of those that, you know, though I'm doing well, I want for those around me to also do well. And if I'm the only one that's just sticking out, I don't feel good. And so for me, I'm always looking to help those around me to elevate the platform and just to have everybody do well too. So.
Yeah. Travis, what does it take to be a good coach? Because you studied in Iowa, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
And you have a degree, but I suspect it didn't have anything to do with coaching, did it?
No, it did not.
So what was your degree in, and how did you get you know, attached to coaching.
Yeah, I joke that I studied track and field, and from my sophomore year in college on, I pretty much did. I'd go to every major championship, U.S. championships, Olympic Games, you name it, World Championships, and I would go find the best athletes, and then I would see who they're talking to up in the stands, and I would go sit by that coach. And then after they were done competing, I would strike up a conversation with the coach. And so I had stacks of notes, of conversations, and I've been fortunate to have relationships and been mentored by some of the best coaches in the world. And so I just feel really thankful, those older coaches that poured into me over the years.
Could you name some of those coaches for us?
Well, Cliff Revelto, the guy that I just replaced at Kansas State, being one of them. Randy Huntington was Mike Powell's coach when he broke the world record, to name a few. Jeremy Fisher, Raina Ryder. There's just been unbelievable coaches along the way. And one of my mentors, Chris Bucknam, Doug Case, my colleagues over the years. Just some tremendous coaches that have poured into me. And it's really rewarding now to coach alongside, you know, some of my athletes that I've coached over years. I've been coaching for 24 years now, and our staff is comprised of people that I've coached and been coached by. Kip Janvrin is a mentor of mine. His dad was my high school track coach.
Wow.
And now he's an assistant for me on our staff, and it's just a kind of a full circle moment. It's all coming together.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things you said in response to Lance was, you know, you could never really explain to people what champs is like. You really have to come here and experience it. And one of the things, Travis, is you've had an eye for spotting Caribbean talent. Is there a secret behind it? Like, how do you get that done? Because I'm very impressed with Jaden. I have to say, he is the life of, you know, the track when he comes out and everything. How do you go about doing that one?
Yeah, I again, over the years, I talk about it. I trust my gut. And I know Jaden's a superstar, Wayne Pinnock, Kerry McLeod, Romaine Beckford, even on the distance side, Kamoy Campbell, I recruited Kamoy Campbell, Kamar Moat, you know, have been a number of them, Laquan Nairn from the Bahamas. We have Aaron Antoine on our team now from Trini. And so it's just, I can't really explain it. I think just over years, those experiences and watching an athlete move, but then it's also, it's not just the athletic side. You get to know these young people and see how they're driven and do they have it?
Yeah, what they're about, basically.
Absolutely. And do they succeed not only on the track, but in life? And we've been fortunate to be surrounded by some great people, and that it continues to elevate. You know,
I'm going to tease Clive for this one because, you know, he's a former KC old boy. So I'm going to assume he's bringing KC for champs. But
Absolutely.
What have you seen from the youngsters, and how proud are you of what you've seen from the KC athletes so far? Do you think y'all are going to win it?
Well, to be honest, it's one of those things. It's an expectation to carry yourself well, to look after your brothers. I think, you know, it's a culture at KC that, you know, each one helps one. And so long as we're doing your job, if we can all just do our job individually, collectively as a team, we'll come out on top. And that's been a culture for us forever since. And, you know, I was just one that came through in that era, and it continues to happen over the years. You know, we have a old boy chapter that is, oh my goodness, it spreads around the world.
No, I know about it. I mean, I've been here for a short time, but I know about it.
Yes, yes.
I know about it very well. Any athlete, though, that you saw that, you know, caught your attention so far?
Well, to be honest with you, we've came down in support of two signees that we've had, Rona Sudlow and Jaden Dawkins. And we've just been, you know, it's fun to sit alongside Travis and our next colleague, Chris, and to see coaches come up to us. And we try to just stay low-key as much as we can.
Can you in this purple?
We try to. We try to. Because, you know, it can be very distracting at this time, and athletes are trying to focus, coaches are trying to focus and be in tuned. And so we try to just take the back seat and really kind of just, you know, be here and just observing. And coaches, you know, they know our faces.
Yeah,
and so,
of course.
you know, we have a presence, and it's seen and it's felt and it's heard. And so we try to just, you know, just blend in where we can. And after the aftermath, that's when, you know, we'll indulge in some conversations.
Yeah, and Travis, you know, he's speaking about blending in, and I'm looking at the shirts, and I'm really, on a serious note, Kansas State, right?
Yes.
Talk to me about some of the opportunities, Travis, that, you know, Caribbean athletes who are doing well and get the opportunity to be a part of the setup will benefit from.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's a unique situation where you can pair athletics and education at the same time. And these kids, and Clive was one of them, and although he went on to be a coach, you know, he got an engineering degree. And you see these opportunities, and for the kids to have I don't want to say a backup plan, but eventually, like, sport ends. And you have to be able to move forward in life and be a successful part of society, and watching these young people develop and mature and earn their college degree so they can go out into the workforce in whatever profession they choose, and then have families and move on. It's just these relationships along the way, more than anything else, I value more than anything. And watching these kids grow and move on, you know, after track and field is over it's a really rewarding experience.
You sound like a proud parent, you know, because, I mean, you spend so much time with these athletes, so of course you create that relationship. Clive, can you talk to me about the facilities at Kansas State?
Oh man, it is one to talk about. I think everyone should, if they get an opportunity, should come out to Manhattan and check it out. When you talk about, you know, everything track and field related, indoor facility, right adjacent outdoor facility, I'm talking 10 steps out the door and you're at the outdoor track. 15 steps from the outdoor track, you're by the gym. 10 more steps from there, you're in our offices. You know, the cool thing about Kansas State is everything is so central from a sports perspective. The football stadium is right by the basketball stadium, right by the volleyball stadium, right by the track, right by the soccer field. We're sharing a grass. I call it a carpet, how well kept the grass is.
Yeah.
It's a perfect pitch. And that's where we do our background training, and it's right, that field is right between us and soccer. And then you look right adjacent to soccer, and it's softball and baseball. And it's like, you know, once you come on that side of campus, if you're a student, if you're a regular student, you have almost no business over there. You're a student athlete, that's where you go. And campus kind of builds out from there.
Yeah.
And
the
so
apartments are right by it too.
The apartments for the dorm, they're dorms, they're technically like apartments, and it's right by the indoor track. And so for the convenience of, you know, just the livelihood of student athlete, it's perfect. I don't see a better setup.
Yeah. Clive, can I ask you quickly though, because now that you talk about this and now that we're looking at the fabulous facilities you have there, we have long felt in the Caribbean that part of the issues that affect the development of our sports stars is the lack of proper facilities.
Absolutely.
I guess Jamaica's performances in track and field belies that, because the athletes have pretty average facilities but still excel on a world level. But how important is this to developing and grooming athletes, having good facilities and having everything in front of them that they need?
Yes, I mean, you know, for competing at the college level and beyond, I think the better you could take away the life stress away from a student athlete is the better they'll perform.
Yes.
And so, you know, when you talk about your tutors right by the football stadium and your dining hall is right across from there, and you go and you live right by the track, I'm talking just the convenience of all of that.
And a gym is right.
Your gym is right there. We got state-of-the-art equipment, everything. Like we're lacking nothing, you know? You talk about facilities, right? We talk about at our indoor facility, we have that. We got built a decline ramp. It's Travis can speak more about it. But you know, when you talk about facilities, it's just in Jamaica. I like to say we do a lot with very little. When we get exposed to this type of life,
it's hard to not succeed.
It's hard. Like you have to try to fail to fail. And even when you try to fail, you still don't fail. You know, it's one of them things, man. It's you got your masseuse, you got your chiropractor, you got your doctors. If you get an injury, we're not sitting on it and just icing. We're getting checked out. We're getting
aggressive.
X-rays.
It's an aggressive treatment.
An aggressive.
Travis, let me ask you this quickly, because when you're scouting, I've heard some coaches say that when they're scouting and they go to these school meets and so on, they don't necessarily look for the winners. they'll look for someone who is coming third or fourth, but their form is bad and their technique is wrong and they're doing everything wrong. Does that make sense to you?
There's some of that. You look for raw potential, and I wrote down a few names today that didn't necessarily win, but yeah, you do. You definitely look for the potential and the upside and all that stuff. But I would say that I also look for winners. I want people that want to win. I want people that want to win in life. I want people that want to be successful, that want to be challenged, that want to push themselves. And I've been fortunate again to coach a lot of great athletes over the years. And big time is where you're at. Okay, and when you prove yourself at champs, you're ready to take a step to the next level. And the NCAA is a terrific proving ground then to move on to the World Championships and Olympic Games. And you look at it with our athletes, and I'll give even Wayne Pinnock, he did a fantastic job the last couple of years coming off an NCAA season and then still going performing personal bests at the World Championships. And he's just an example, and there's a number of other athletes that aren't afraid. I want athletes that have no fear. And you know, in here and watching this meet, there's a lot of athletes with no fear, man.
Yeah, I know that Jamaica's high school championship is a hotbed for talent, but there is a lot of talent right throughout the Caribbean. There's a big Grenada intercol meet annually. It happens, I think, in a week and a half from now at the Kirani James Stadium.
Yeah.
Obviously named after their 400 star. They now have Anderson Peters, a world level champion. In the javelin as well.
Yep.
The Barbados High School Championship is happening now as we speak. Are coaches keen on going to other Caribbean countries to seek talent? I know Jamaica may be the priority, but there is talent outside of Jamaica. Or do you just wait until the Carifta Games where you will just see everyone?
Yeah.
What's the
Carifta, you know, when you see a lot of talent in one place at one time, that certainly helps. But then it's rewarding to go out to early to see some athletes compete, and I've been to the Bahamas a number of times. And so yeah, it is common for coaches to go out and kind of find the talent before they blossom on a bigger stage. But there's just tremendous talent all over the Caribbean, and you look again at the athletes we've coached over the years, and when you have success, you know, here at this high school level and then move on to Carifta and then Commonwealth or whatever it may be, you know, it's amazing, the athletes in the Caribbean. I mean, it's remarkable. It's fun to watch.
Yeah. The last question I have for you, Travis, is Jamaica competes with the USA as a world power in sprinting.
Yeah.
Now, you're an American, so, you know, as an American, I suppose you like to see the Americans winning. But what's your take on what Jamaica is able to achieve on a sprinting level at the world stage against, you know, bigger countries like the USA and top countries in Europe?
It's unbelievable. When you look at Jamaica and the population of Jamaica, I think roughly 3 million people, and to have that success versus 300 million people that the United States has, or whatever the number is, it's remarkable. But I think so much of it comes back to the grassroots, and that athletics or track and field is the pastime here. You know, obviously there's other sports that are very important as well, but track and field is a big deal here. And see, these kids aspire to be legends, like some of the great legends they've watched, like Merlene Ottey and obviously Bolt and just some unbelievable athletes that they've looked up to. Like in the U.S., a lot of times kids will look up to football, American football, or baseball stars. But here they look up to track and field athletes and aspire to be great.
Yeah, we're out of time, Travis, but now that you say that, I just want to ask Clive, who was his inspiration? As a teenager growing up, you know, Travis just correctly pointed out our history, the Herb McKinleys, the Donald Quarries, and so on. While you were 12, 13, 14 years old and getting interested in the sport, who were some of the stars that you targeted to say, boy, you know, I want to be like him or her?
So, you know, as a jumper, as we all know of Clive to be, for me, at the time, you know, we all knew of James Beckford.
Yes.
But there have been just a significant gap between James Beckford and, let's say, Shanika Ricketts and Kimberly Williams and myself.
Yeah, well, James Beckford was from Atlanta, 96.
Exactly. And so I was 2 years old at the time. You know, for me, Christian Taylor was my hero.
Yeah.
And so right throughout high school, Coach Jeremy had a thing where, you know, if you're not watching your event, then you're really not serious about it.
Yes.
And so you just come to training every day and you're just training and you don't even know your event.
Yes.
You don't know the people that went through the grades.
Yeah,
And
Christian
so
Taylor was a big one.
Christian Taylor, Teddy Tamgo, those guys are pals of mine now.
Yeah.
I could take up the phone and literally text and get responses from.
That must
pick
feel
up the
good.
phone and
That
call
must
these
feel good,
guys.
yeah.
And so for me, you know, those guys were my heroes.
Yes.
And so when I made the Olympic team, you know, I tell people all the time, I get interviewed and asked these questions. How does it you relate to the NCAA system as a relation to champs? Yeah. And I go, when you make it out of champs, just piggybacking off of what Travis said, nothing scares you. So the NCAA system was, you know, for lack of better terms, was a walk in the park for me. I never got nervous once. The next time I got nervous was at the Olympic Games when I was sitting next to Teddy Tamgo and Christian Taylor. These guys I watched in high school.
Yeah.
That was when I really did feel some level of stage fright.
Yeah, but
and so,
the NCAA was a cakewalk.
It was like
Clive Pullen, ex-Kingston College star, and Mr. Travis Gifford. Really great to have you here on the SportsMax Zone. A real pleasure. You two are doing excellent work at Kansas State University, and we wish you all the best for your remainder of your trip in Jamaica and for your NCAA assignments in the next couple of months.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We go to break. We'll be back with more on the SportsMax Zone after this.